Good morning.
Good morning.
It is Saturday, July 22nd, and it's AA Day. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm just going to say if you're not comfortable with other people knowing that you are a recovering alcoholic, or even just starting your journey of sobriety, please know that if you comment in the chats, it does upload. And please know that there is no judgment, no bullying, no harassment, or anything allowed in this channel. So, 8 years of sobriety for you. That's awesome. So awesome. Super proud of you.
Thank you.
So, we're going to start off with the Serenity Prayer, and then I will read the steps, and Lily Chi will read the traditions. And
I
then,
shared out on my community tab.
thank you. I appreciate all your support in all parts of my channel.
I
And
appreciate your support too on our
you're welcome.
sobriety journey.
You're welcome. I'm more than happy to help you to continue being sober and being sober with you. It has been an amazing journey, ups and downs, twists and turns. We've been through it all, and all I can say is the best part is having your true feelings, and it's not because of the alcohol. And I remember those days, and I don't miss those days. So I always look forward to the next day of waking up, being sober, and just being here and working my steps and my uh, daily reflections and all of that stuff. It does really help. Um, so 12 steps and 12 traditions. Um, you can get
Cheers,
your
my
book,
cup, kicking it country.
but you can get these books everywhere pretty much online.
Rent them at the library.
Yep, everywhere. But please just be mindful of others and refrain from being rude or judgmental in here. And I appreciate everyone that comes and watches and listens to our story of the steps and how they worked for us, and ways that we have made a major life change with just 12 steps and using it daily. So I'm going to read the 12 steps. And you can find them in the front of the book. I always put in the description what page we're on, what chapter.
Which book?
So, yeah, I said which book we're on, and uh, the app I have. I will explain that later. I'm not affiliated or anything like that with any of these things other than the desire to keep from drinking and to help others to stop drinking. So let's say the Serenity Prayer, and then we'll get into the steps. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory. Sorry, I skipped ahead a couple of steps. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
The 12 traditions. 1. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on AA unity. 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as He may express Himself. In our group conscience, our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. 4. Each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5. Each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6. An AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facilities outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7. Every AA ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8. Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9. AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
Thank you. We are in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous on page 116, and I'm going to start at There is another paralyzing fear. You may be afraid your husband will lose his position, or wife may lose their position. You are thinking of the disgrace and hard times which we befall you and the children.
Which will befall you.
That's what I said.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Sorry.
Uh, this experience may come to you, or you may already have had it several times. Should it happen again, regard it in a different light. Maybe it will prove a blessing. It may convince your husband or wife he or she wants to stop drinking forever. And now you know that he or she can stop if he or she will. Time after time, this apparent calamity has been a boon to us, for it opened up a path which led to the discovery of God, as we understand Him. We have elsewhere remarked how much better life is when lived on a spiritual plane. If God can solve the age old riddle of alcoholism, he or she can solve your problems too. We wives and husbands found that, like everybody else, we were afflicted with pride, self pity, vanity, and all the things which go to make up the self centered person, and we were not above selfishness or dishonesty. As our husband or wife began to apply spiritual principles in their lives, we began to see the desirability of doing so too. At first, some of us did not believe we needed this help. We thought, on the whole, we were pretty good, women or men, capable of being nicer if our husband or wife stopped drinking. But it was a silly idea that we were too good to need God. Now we try to put spiritual principles to work in every department of our lives. When we do that, we find it solves our problems too. The ensuing lack of fear, worry, and hurt feelings is a wonderful thing. We urge you to try our program, for nothing will be so helpful to your husband or wife as the radically changed attitude towards him or her, which God will show you how to have. Go along with your husband or wife if you possibly can.
If you and your husband or wife find a solution for the pressing problem of drinking, or of drink, you are, of course, going to be very happy. But all problems will not be solved at once. Seed has started to sprout in a new soil, but growth has only begun. In spite of your newfound happiness, there will be ups and downs. Many of the old problems will still be with you. This is as it should be. The faith and serenity of both you and your husband or wife will be put to the test. Oh, yes. These workouts should be regarded as part of your education, for thus you will be learning to live. You will make mistakes, but if you are earnest, they will not drag you down. Instead, you will capitalize them. A better way of life will emerge when they are overcome. Some of the snags you will encounter or inherit irritation irritation, hurt feelings, and resentments. Your husband and wife will sometimes be reasonable and you will want to criticize. Starting from a speck on the domestic horizon, great thunderclouds of dispute may gather. These family discussions are very dangerous, especially to your husband or wife. Often you must carry the burden of avoiding them or keeping them under control. Never forget that resentment is a deadly hazard to an alcoholic. We do not mean that you have to agree with your husband or wife whenever there is an honest difference of opinion. Just be careful not to disagree in a resentful or critical spirit. You or your husband or wife, vice versa, will find that you can dispose of serious problems easier than you can the trivial ones. Next time you and he have a heated discussion, no matter what the subject, it should be the privilege of either to smile or say, "This is getting serious. I'm sorry. I got disturbed. Let's talk about it later." If your husband or wife is trying to live on a spiritual basis, he will also be doing everything in his power or her power to avoid disagreement or contention. Your husband or wife knows he or she owes you more than sobriety. He or she wants to make good, yet you must not expect too much. His or her ways of thinking are doing are the habits of years. Patience, tolerance, understanding, and love are the watchwords. Show him these things in yourself, and they will be reflected back to you from him or her. Live and let live is the rule. If you both show a willingness to remedy your own defects, there will be little need to criticize each other.
We women carry with us, or men, carry with us a picture of the ideal man or female, that sort of chap or lady we would like our husband or wife to be. It is the most natural thing in the world, once his or her liquor problem is solved, to feel that he or she will now measure up to that cherished vision. But chances are he or she will not, for like yourself, he or she is just beginning his or her development. Be patient. Another feeling we are very likely to entertain is one of resentment that love and loyalty could not cure our husband or wife of alcoholism. We do not like the thought that the contents
Content.
contents of a book or the work of another alcoholic has accomplished in a few weeks that for which we struggle for years. At such moments, we forget that alcoholism is an illness over which we could not possibly have had any power. Your husband or wife will be the first to say it was your devotion and care which brought him or her to the point where he or she could have a spiritual experience. Without you, he or she would have gone to pieces long ago. When resentful thoughts come, try to pause and count your blessings. After all, your family is reunited. Alcohol is no longer a problem, and you and your husband or wife are working together towards an undreamed of future.
Still, another difficulty is that you may become jealous of the attention he bestows on other people, especially alcoholics. You have been starving for his or her companionship, yet he or she spends long hours helping other men or women and their families. You feel he or she should now be yours. The fact is that he or she should work with other people to maintain his or her own sobriety. Sometimes he or she will be so interested that he or she becomes really neglectful. Your house is filled with strangers. You may not like some of them. He or she gets stirred up about their troubles, but not at all about yours. It will do little good if you point that out and urge more attention for yourself. We find it a real mistake to dampen his or her enthusiasm for alcoholic work. You should join in his or her efforts as much as you possibly can. We suggest that you direct some of your thought to the wives or husbands of his or her new alcoholic friends. They need the counsel and love of a woman or man who has gone through what you have. It is probably true that you or your husband or wife have been living too much alone. For drinking many times isolates the wife or husband of an alcoholic. Therefore, you probably need fresh interests and a great cause to live for as much as your husband or wife. If you cooperate rather than complain, you will find that his or her excess enthusiasm will tone down, but you will awaken to a new sense of responsibility for others. You, as well as your husband or wife, ought to think of what you can put into life instead of how much you can take out. Inevitably, your lives will be fuller for doing so. You will lose the old life to find one much better. Perhaps your husband or wife will make a fair start on the new basis, but just as things are going beautifully, he or she dismays you by coming home drunk. If you are satisfied he or she really wants to get over drinking, you need not be alarmed. Though it is infinitely better that he or she have no relapse at all, as has been true with many of our men or women, it is by no means a bad thing in some cases. Your husband or wife will see at once that he or she must redouble his or her spiritual activities if he or she expects to survive. You need not remind him or her of his or her spiritual deficiency. He or she will know of it. Cheer him or her up and ask him or her how you can be still more helpful.
The slightest sign of fear or intolerance may lessen your husband's chance of recovery, husband or wife's recovery. In a weak moment, he or she may take your dislike of his or her high-stepping friends as one of those insanely trivial excesses, excuses to drink. We never try to arrange a man or a woman's life so as to shield him or her from temptation. The slightest disposition on your part to guide his or her appointments or his or her affairs so he or she will not be tempted will be noticed. Make him or her feel absolutely free to come and go as he likes. This is important. If he or she gets drunk, don't blame yourself. God has either removed your husband or wife's liquor problem, or he or she has not. If not, it had better be found out right away. Then you and your husband or wife can get right down to fundamentals. If a rep-
Repetition.
repetition is to be pre- prevented, place the problem along with everything else in God's hands. We realize that we have been giving you much direction and advice. We may have seemed to lecture. If that is so, we are sorry. We for we ourselves don't always care for people who lecture us, but what we have related in basis is based upon experience, some of it painful. We had to learn these things the hard way. That is why we are anxious that you understand and that you avoid these unnecessary difficulties. So you so to you out there who may soon be with us, we say good luck and God bless. Um for me, a lot of the things that points out that you shouldn't do, I did to myself. I stopped listening for a long time. I stopped listening to music that had the word alcohol in it or whatever alcohol name that I know. Um, and I also stopped completely going to bars and restaurants that had alcohol. And I wouldn't even go down the aisle with the alcohol at the grocery store. This time that I quit drinking 8 years ago, I did all of that. I refused to be around people that were drinking. I pulled out all the stop just to make it to where I was not going to waver from my sobriety because I'd already done that once. And I didn't want to go back down that windy, sad hole of feeling like crap, because I wasn't letting anybody else down when I went back out. I let myself down, and that was the hard part, is letting yourself down. So, but doing the steps has, and having a home group, it has helped me to stay on the sobriety wagon because I don't want to go back down to that person I used to be. Um, because at that point in life, I didn't care about anybody or anything. All I cared about was my alcohol. And that's not a fun place to be. I started getting like pushing my family away, um, started isolating a lot, just wanting to stay home and drink all the time. And but this time I am sober and I'm happy to be sober and I'm happy to have the tools of the steps and the traditions and all of the reading and stuff that we get out of meetings and the free gift because all you have to do, the hard part is admit that you're an alcoholic. It's really hard. It's
That
not
your
going to be
life
easy.
that your life has become unmanageable and you're powerless over alcohol.
Yeah,
Or sorry, I said that backwards.
yeah, it's all right. Uh, but that is the hardest part. Coming to terms with yourself that you are an alcoholic. Now, for me, I don't know about Lily, but for me, growing up, I knew at very, very young ages, I knew my birth father, an alcoholic.
Our birth father.
Yeah, our birth father. He was an alcoholic. I say was because he passed away a few years ago. It's sad because he never got sober, and yeah, but I knew anyways growing up and in my teen years, and then when I turned to 21 and all of that, I knew that I could end up being like him. I could end up being the alcoholic. And I fought it for a long time. I hit my 30s and it hit me hard. And I went down that rabbit hole, a place I never wanted to go. But that's what happened. So just because you can go that long being a teenager, into teenagers, I did drink, but I didn't drink a lot. And didn't drink very often, but I still did it. But knowing that I could have become the alcoholic, and then when it hit me that I am the alcoholic, um, reaching out and deciding to open up about being an alcoholic, and with the AA, it's helped me to be open about it because I'm a recovering alcoholic, and the recovering part is the best part. Is being free to see things through clear eyes. Just being there, being present. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of
Yeah,
hard times.
yeah. Like the
But
book says, there you'll still have ups and downs. You'll still
yep,
have arguments. But the most important part is if you have that stuff happen, to walk away, think about it, and then make your amends and move on. Don't have resentments. You can't hold on to grudges because resentments and grudges only hold you back from your spiritual progress and from you making progress in your sobriety or in whatever you're working on in your life.
mm-hmm.
Um, it is, no, it definitely is not easy. It's not.
Hey Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. It's a process, it's a daily process. Wake up in the morning, say your serenity prayer. Say a prayer or say, uh, if you are agnostic or atheist or whatever you may be, that does not matter. You can still pray to your spiritual side or your spiritual whatever
Mm-hmm.
and make your day start off better. Just say, I'm thankful I'm sober today. Uh, say your serenity prayer, move onto your day, and then before you go to bed at night, take inventory of your day.
Yep.
Did I uh, argue with somebody? Did I have a bad day? And just be thankful that you made it through that day sober.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, it works. Just being thankful for being sober for that day.
Yep.
I know I used to look forward to my next sobriety birthday. I used to look forward to my next sobriety milestone coin. And it was like, you know, I've actually had to stop doing that because I need to focus on today.
Yep.
Today first. Tomorrow.
Yep.
You know,
I'm
I
glad
can't
you're here,
guarantee
Shannon.
that I cannot guarantee that I will be sober tomorrow, but I can guarantee that I'm sober right now, today.
Yep. Yep. And the main thing is with your sobriety, you only have to prove it to yourself. And that it gets easier. I mean, I used to have dreams that I would go out and drink. I used to be afraid to go somewhere because there's alcohol at that spot. And you know what? I don't have to worry about it anymore because I walk by it all the time, and I can't expect everyone in my family or my friends to put theirs away. I mean, I have to have the self will to not pick up that drink. I cannot let anyone else make that decision for me. I have to do that myself. And one of my major accomplishments, I know I'm talking about the past, but I went to Reno with my husband for a work thing. And I was around all that alcohol, drinks just sitting around, and I could have easily picked one of them up and drank out of it. But I had the willpower for myself to not even think about that. Think about enjoying your time there without worrying about, oh no, am I going to go pick this up? Because
Uh,
it, it's hard, but it gets easier. It
Shannon,
does. It
Shannon,
definitely does get
I'm glad
easier.
that you are here, and I'm glad that you felt the need to take a personal day so you could be here. Not for us, but for yourself.
Yes,
That's
I'm
what
glad
matters.
you're here.
Yourself and your sobriety. And if you need a personal day for that, that is absolutely wonderful that you know that you needed to be here to listen
Yeah,
for yourself.
and I can't wait till Wednesday because I get to see my friend. Hopefully, hopefully. But yeah, being sober at first, it's like I don't want to say anything. I don't know these people. You're going to be like, you're still a little snobby about it, kind of, I know I was. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to deal with these people. But as time went on, I learned that, okay, these people are really here for this reason. And they all understand what I'm going through and why I'm not talking very much. They weren't trying to make me talk. And then I found my voice. And one of my sponsors, I have two sponsors. And I think I have three or four sponsees. I don't talk to them every day. But mostly I do say hello to them every day, at least. Um, but having them telling me, I'm proud of you and I'm glad you found your voice and you need to keep using it. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm using my voice, trying to spread the love of Alcoholics Anonymous. Uh, any recovery is well worth it. You're not going to feel like it is, but it truly is. It's a blessing to have every day wake up sober and not have to stress about, oh, how am I going to afford that beer or how am I going to afford that drink? And I used to do it a lot, and I'm admitting it. For me, a long time it took me to admit that. But
It is, Shannon. It is very important.
yes, and just knowing when you need to go to a meeting. I mean, I still have those times, And so I will say, hey, I think I need to go to a meeting today, because this obviously is not my only place that I do AA. Mostly it is at this point in time, but um, I do have a home group. I have sponsees, I have sponsors, and that's what you need is you need to have that web of people that you can talk to when you're having a bad day and you really can't get out of your own head and you just want to scream. So you need to have that person that you can talk to about it. And I'm here. Um, Lily is always here to help me. My sponsees are here to help me. I have a home group that helps me. I'm not saying that I don't have other people that I talk to about my alcoholism. Shoot, I met Shannon at work over a year ago, and I had said something. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I know it was something about I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I've said it more than once working there. And I had people come up to me and say, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm not scared to say it. I don't care who knows. Yeah, I am." And sometimes that's what people need to hear is don't be ashamed of it. It's easy. It gets easier to deal with when you share it. So, I mean, that's why I'm doing this. It's a free gift. And if I can reach one or more people, hey, I'm doing it right. And that's my only goal is helping people out with something that's free. So, and I am going to talk about an app. I'm not sponsored or affiliated by them, but I truly do like to read my daily reflection. Let me find the app. There it is. So, um, today's daily reflection, the good and the bad. My creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. And that's Alcoholics Anonymous, page 76. The joy of life is in the giving, being freed of my shortcomings, that I may more freely be of service, allow humility to grow in me. My shortcomings can be humbly placed in God's loving care and be removed. The essence of step 7 is humility. And what better way to seek humility than by giving all of myself, good and bad, to God as I understand Him, so that He or she may remove the bad and return to me the good. Amen.
I'll read the men. What is today?
It is the 22nd,
I
July 22nd.
okay. It says suffering is a journey which has an end. Matthew Fox. Pain is part of life. To live a masculine spiritual life, we need a way to understand the suffering we sometimes endure. Looking back at other difficult times can give us better perspective of the pain we feel today. All of us can recall a loss or a sudden difficult change that we never would have chosen for ourselves. Perhaps it brought us face to face with insecurities or doubts about our survival. Now, after the suffering has ended, we see how much we grew. We changed. We were strengthened and perhaps were liberated by what happened to us. Thoughts about today's suffering may not be clear as to what good it holds for us, but we are on a journey, and it can only happen one step at a time. We know that journeys teach us great lessons, and they do have endings. Our pain today affirms that we are vital and alive people. We know others suffer as we do, and we can turn to each other to give and receive comfort while we are on the journey. My pain will teach me something I need to know, and it will have an end. I will pay attention to its lesson.
Thank you. So with that, I don't know, it just works, you guys. You have to trust in your own self ability to work your steps because it all starts with you.
And let me
We can't,
tell you, you are strong. Even though you think you're weak, you are
yeah,
strong. And you can do it.
yeah,
Easy, easy steps. And it starts with the first one, admitting we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable.
yep. And it just works. I don't do AA every day. I don't read my book every day. But just by knowing my steps, because I know them by heart, but I know that the steps that I need to take to make my amends, to uh, stay sober, and just try to find the better in everything. And when stuff goes wrong, you can't change it. There's no way you can change it unless if it's you. All you can do is change yourself. You can control yourself, and that is it. You can change your reactions, your everything. It has to be you to do it. Nobody else can
Shan-
do you.
Shannon, that is exactly what a spiritual awakening is like. What she said, when I first got sober, I used to say, look for the lesson. That, what you just read, reminded me of that. Thank you so much, ladies. I needed to be here today. That is divine intervention. You
Yeah,
being here today is exactly where you were meant to be right now, today.
yeah, yep.
And that's how it works.
Shannon, you have my number. You can call me anytime you want. I'm always here. It can be at midnight. I don't care. If you need someone to talk to, call me. I'm always here.
It is rad. That really, and that was in the men's meditation book. And it spoke
Yeah,
to me as well. Look
it
for the
does.
lesson. Pay attention.
Yep. So what I always tell everybody that I help is number one, you. You have to be your own number one because it starts with you. You can't take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself. You can't care about somebody else unless if you care about yourself. And it teaches you self-love. I don't always feel like I love myself, but you know what? I have those days where it's just like whatever. And then I have those days, you know what? I'm actually doing this.
And you actually have to remember to breathe.
Yep,
Slow
just
down.
breathe.
slow down, pay attention. You're
Yep.
learning something.
Yep. Definitely. And I think that's been a good meeting. How about you?
Huh?
I said I think it's been a good meeting. How about you?
Me too. And I hope people that watch this later get something out of it.
Yes.
It's today was actually a pretty good day. Uh,
Yes.
I enjoyed the chapter that we just finished, and I enjoyed the daily reflection and the men's meditation. That actually all really was pertinent in the
Yeah.
way my life has been going lately. And it's just been speaking to me this past couple weeks. I
Yeah.
was having a rough go for a couple weeks because of stuff that was going on that I'm not going to go into. But I stopped and refocused and remembered that first I need to pay attention to my sobriety and my um, I can't control everything, and
Yeah.
uh, it's thy will be done, not mine. And so I really had to get back to that. And
Yeah.
being sober for 8 years now has really came in like a freaking Mack truck and smacked me upside the head and said, "This is you got to pay attention, slow down,
Yep.
and put yourself and your recovery first. It cannot be about everybody else all the
Yeah.
time."
Yep.
And that's where I'm at.
Yep. I'm the same. You gotta do you. You can't help anybody if you can't help yourself. And when you're down at the bottom of the barrel, that is strict reality. And some of us are able to climb out, and some of us don't. And I will try to help by doing these meetings and giving people the hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to want it. And you have a lot of work to do. It's not easy work, but I can tell you it is so worth it. It has been so worth it. And watching my sister come up right behind me at 8 and a half, at 8 years, it's amazing. And my other sponsee is 5, I think. And then uh, I don't know if I'm anybody else's sponsor, but you know, it just works. And if I can help anybody that way, that's what I'm here for. So, but with that, we're gonna say the Serenity Prayer, and then I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And just know that we think of you all. I pray for you all, and hope that if you need the help, that uh, you get the help. And there's meetings everywhere. All you have to do is just look. And but yeah, it's definitely worth every single day to be sober. And hey, Life of Lucretia, I hope you watch the rerun. But the meeting is about over. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Our next meeting is going to be Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I hope you guys come and join us. I love you all, and be safe out there, and think positive thoughts. You got this. Love you all.
God.